Hey guys, so today I'm going to start our lesson with a more reverent, more in remembrance, more somber start to the lesson than I normally exude on our Google Meets or in our lessons. This lesson is a lesson of remembrance, of remembering back of what happened here in our country 19 years ago. I'd always heard that we were going to have those, you would have one of those moments in your life where you'd always remember where you were when you heard what had happened. I know my grandmother talked about when the man was on the moon. My aunt spoke of when JFK was shot. My mom remembers the day they announced Elvis had passed away. Well, that moment for me happened to be September 11th, when the World Trade Centers were attacked. And so I just want to share with you quietly, just take a moment to share with you my moment of where I was and what I felt and how it looked here in Tennessee at that time. So it was, of course, September the 11th, 2001. I am home with my brand new baby, Allie, who's now 19 and in college. And I'm sitting there giving her her bottle, watching the morning news. My husband had just gone to work that morning. And I see on the Today Show, they're announcing that something strange had happened. So it was the first airplane attack on the first tower. I'm watching with disbelief, confusion. Everybody had confusion. I was scared. I was emotional. A lot of times right after a baby, you may have seen your mom, would cry a lot. It's just your emotions after having a baby. And then you have this little human that you've brought to the world that you love and care for and you want to protect, and now you don't know what's going on. So I remember calling my husband. He had not seen anything. He was at work. So he said they all gathered around at work and they turned on the television and they watched. And I spent the rest of the day, the rest of the week, actually the rest of the few weeks, watching and listening and hurting. Because the United States was hurting a lot at that time. We were sad for the people that had lost loved ones, for the people that went in to rescue others, the ones that felt so hopeless in the tower, knowing that they may not get to go home that night. So September 11th was one of those moments where you stop and you remember. You, of course, remember the bad and the people that were out to hurt, but then you need to also remember, as the wonderful Mr. Rogers used to say, to stop and look for the helpers. Look at the hope and the love that was shown that day. Look for those that stopped and helped someone else, or those that ran into that building even though they didn't know what would happen. So in those bad times, in those hard times, we of course see the bad, we feel the bad, but we also have to take that moment to look and see the helpers. Find the hope and find the love. Dumbledore from Harry Potter once quoted and said, "We must always be sure to find the light in the darkness." So guys, as you watch this next video, I want you to just look for the light. Look for the helpers. Also, keep in remembrance those that lost their lives, the heroes that came in and helped. Think about the families and how saying goodbye or not getting to say goodbye was something that they'll always miss. But this is a time of remembrance when we think of those Americans and we think, what can I do to make the world a better place? All right, so thank you, and we'll get on to, I will be doing a loom with your assignment after the video.
There would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.